everyone, my name is Priyanka and welcome to my vlog. Today I'm going to teach you how you can stabilize your emotions. Now, most of us, we experience emotions on a day-to-day basis. We feel rage, we feel anger, we feel frustration, we feel jealousy, and most times we feel emotions that are triggered by people around us. So let's say you have this one emotion in your life, maybe it's sadness, depression, or you're anxious all the time, or you're just feeling numb. Now that is happening because you are getting triggered by people around you. And the way you've been thinking, most times we have a repeat pattern of thought that we keep on thinking throughout the day. And that repeat pattern of thought comes from all the trauma that we store inside of our hearts. We don't let go of trauma that easily because of the way we've been brought up. Now, we are raised with only one idea that we're not supposed to cry over spilt milk. So you're not supposed to cry over small little things in your life. You're supposed to take everything in your life like a badge of honor. So if someone says something to you that you don't like, if someone is very toxic to you, if someone is manipulating you, what you're going to do is you're going to take it all in and keep it in your heart. You're going to store it in your heart. And the reason why you're feeling all of these emotions in your life is because you have a habit of storing all of this trauma in your life. Now, if you want to improve your life, if you want to feel better, then you have to remove these emotions from your life. But it's not an easy thing. It's not like you can go and sort out through these emotions in that heart of yours and pick and choose the ones that are not working out for you. That is not how life happens. Life is going to happen to you. You're going to go through toxic people in your life, some manipulative people in your life, and this is part of life. But what you can do is learn how to outgrow these emotions. That's what you need to do. You need to come over this whole idea that, I need to just keep on feeling this. You're not supposed to keep on feeling a certain emotion throughout your life. You're supposed to outgrow that. And that is what I'm going to teach you today. I'm going to teach you how you can change your life around by changing the emotions that you're feeling. So coming on to the first point, you need to understand that whatever you're feeling right now in your life, let's say it's a lot of anger or sadness or anxiety, it's happening because you have been prioritizing others over yourself. Now, you've been doing it for a very long period of time. It's not just that today you said yes to people who are very toxic to you. You've been saying yes to people throughout your life. And because of that, you have been feeling a lot of gap between who you are and what you want to be. So you want to be this free individual. You want to experience life. You want to feel joy and happiness in your life, but you're unable to experience it because you keep on saying yes to people around you. You do not value your time and energy and effort. What you do is you put in too much of an effort trying to please others. So you don't prioritize your health. You don't prioritize your emotional health, your physical health, your mental health. And now you are suffering in this life of yours. So then you have to learn the art of saying no to toxic people around you, because unless you do that, you'll always go on just depleting your life force. Now you have a very limited period of time on this planet and you have a very limited life force within you. It's not that, you can give away entire day of yours trying to make somebody happy. And oftentimes you'll find that whenever you go on trying to make others around you happy, they are actually not that happy at all. They in fact don't laud you of your efforts. They in fact tell you that you're not a great human being, that you're not really doing your work well. That's the kind of feedback you get actually. And that makes you feel angry and irritated and depressed and sad in life because you keep on saying this to yourself, I'm putting in so much effort in this life of mine to make somebody else happy and they're not appreciating me, and yet you cannot say no to them because of the way you were raised. As a child, you kept on saying yes to people because your parents taught you that this is how an obedient child needs to live their life. So you became that obedient child. And if you are not an obedient child and you were saying a lot of no's, then you experience some other form of trauma, that is your family stop talking to you, or they make you feel like you're the black sheep of the family. So you experience another form of trauma, and you're carrying that trauma. And then, even as an adult, although you're very disobedient, you are still going back to your toxic family, trying to please them. So this is where you have to understand that if you were raised in a very toxic environment, you have to start saying no to people around you. You have to put your foot down and imagine how you want to spend your day, because you cannot spend your day trying to please people who do not value your time, effort, and energy. And once you start valuing your time, effort, and energy, what you're going to do is you're going to prioritize yourself. You're going to do things that you kept on a back burner. You're going to take care of your physical health, you're going to take care of your mental health and your emotional health. And the easiest way to say no to somebody is to write down the events that happened throughout the day, because this is where you'll realize you've been going wrong. Now, you are operating from a subconscious level that is not sorted out. So your subconscious mind is still saying yes to individuals, although in the present form that you're living your life, you are trying to say no to people, but your subconscious mind keeps on saying yes. So you keep having this conversation in your mind, trying to fit in between, and you're feeling like life is a distortion right now. So to escape that, you have to write down how your day went. That is where you will find out how many times you said yes to people who are very toxic to you. Now, to stabilize your emotions, you have to learn that your feelings are actually gateways to the kind of life that you're living right now. So if you're feeling sad and depressed, and all of these feelings are a result of how you're interacting with this world, now you're perceiving this world a certain way. And oftentimes we perceive this world as something that is not working out for us. So either we look at people like, oh, they're so toxic, so they're creating so much of trauma in my life, and that is why I cannot live a good life. And then we're going to look at what we've been lacking in our life. So we look at things that have not worked out for us till now, and we focus on only those areas of our life that have not worked out for us. So now we're just assimilating this whole idea of our life that is full of sadness, and it's looking very bleak. Our life is looking very bleak. So now we need to move over and think of our life as something that's really working out for us. And it's a different perspective, and it's not easy to change one's perspective because you have a habit of looking at your life a certain way. So the only way you can change your perspective is to change the way you have been sifting through your thoughts. You have to pay attention to your thought process. Now, if you start paying attention to your thought process, you realize that most often you are blaming the divine or people around you or even yourself for the life that you're living. Now, if we keep on sitting in this blame game, what we're doing is we're depleting ourselves of that precious energy, because now the moment I start blaming everybody around me, including myself and the divine, I'm going to feel depressed. But if I woke up and decided to feel blessed, now that is something that you have to teach yourself, because it's not an easy thing to do, teach yourself this idea that you're blessed. So you start looking for small little things in your life that make you feel happy. Let's just say that you're happy about your career right now, but you're not happy about your personal relationships. So just start blessing yourself with this whole idea that what, my career is great, I feel amazing, and I'm doing so well. So there's one area of your life that must be working out for you. Or even if there's no area of your life that's working out for you, you start looking at your life from perspective of somebody who could have lived your life and would have been very, very happy. Let's say there is somebody in your office or in your friend circle who envies you right now. Or maybe it's just that you step out of your house and you see somebody who's not doing so well financially, emotionally, and physically, and then you look at your own life. Maybe just walk into a hospital one day. That's going to give you a perspective about your life, because most often we ignore the kind of life divine has given us. We keep on saying to ourselves, what, I have this life that's not really worked out for me, it's not good, I'm not happy, and we keep on cribbing, we keep on blaming everybody around us. So now you need to focus on what makes you feel centered and calm throughout the day. If you ask me, you will say, oh, you know what, talking to people makes me feel centered. You can try it for a while. Or you'll say, driving around, just doing nothing, just driving on the road makes me feel centered. Yeah, for a while. Or you'll say, oh, I like listening to music, so that makes me feel centered. You know what? I've tried all of these things. And over the years, I've realized that none of these things actually function well. They make me feel good for a while, but once I'm back into my routine, once I'm going throughout the day doing my chores and, taking care of my kid or going out and working or, taking care of the household and just even in the company of people, sometimes when you're sitting in a party, you'll have a thought that's just not right. You'll have a thought that says, you know what? I don't feel good. If you've experienced that, then you realize that none of these things are going to work for you in the long run. What you need is a stable mind. So the only way you can stabilize that mind of yours is to sit with yourself. I know it's the most difficult task. Let me tell you, if I ask somebody that, you know what, would you rather sit with friends and gossip around, or would you rather sit with yourself? You know what? People will choose sitting with their friends because that's the easy way. You can escape yourself. Because the moment you start sitting with yourself, you realize what kind of a person you are. And you're not like that because that's the kind of image you have built about yourself. So the identity crisis is going to come into force. You realize that you've been identifying with the wrong individual because this individual that is sitting in stillness doesn't really want so many things in life. Wants a different life altogether. And you're so scared to look at this new perspective in life, to look at yourself truly. So this is where you have to work upon yourself, because if you don't sit with yourself, if you don't pay attention to the inner thought process of yours, if you don't quieten that mind of yours, you will always go through these emotional upheavals. You will keep on experiencing emotional upheaval till the time you will not really feel like you're living a good life. And that change only comes to people who realize that they've been feeling this way for way too long and they want to experience something better. They want to feel good about their life. And that is the cue where you're supposed to sit with yourself in meditation, because that's the only mental exercise that will allow you some peace of mind. Because till now you were living in so much of chaos and you had so many chaotic thoughts, and all of these chaotic thoughts were propelling you in a direction in which you didn't want to go. So you were feeling all of these emotions and you were feeling drained because of your overthinking. Now, if you want to change that, you have to sit in stillness. There's no other way out of it. You can try whatever you want in this life of yours. You can read books, you can go out for a walk, you can talk to people, you can cycle or play badminton. You can do whatever you want to do. But you know what? At the end of the day, you will have to experience that stillness to quieten that mind of yours, because without that, your mind will never quieten. In fact, it's going to chatter even more. And the more it chatters, the more you're going to feel perplexed. More of that stress is going to come into your life and you'll feel so much of anxiety seeping into your life. You need to improve that inner chatter that you're having all the time in your mind. Now, yes, you have that inner chatter that's not working out for you, but there is a way to improve that inner chatter. There's a way to use it for your well-being, to take advantage of that inner chatter. But of course, no one has taught you how to think better thoughts. So that is why you keep on saying to yourself, you know what, I'm not supposed to think these thoughts. Actually, you cannot stop yourself from thinking. That is something that you can try, but it's never going to happen. So what you can do is you can change the way you've been thinking. That is where you will require least amount of effort, and in fact you're going to receive so much of abundance in life, so much of joy in life. Now, how do we change that inner chatter? Because till now our inner chatter was about how your life is not working out for you, how someone is being rude to you, what they did to you 20 years back or 2 months back or 2 days back, and then you just kept on playing that memory in your mind. You kept on feeling those emotions. Now, whenever you're feeling those emotions, you realize that you simply are traveling in time. You're going back into the past. That is why you are feeling all of that anxiety and stress coming in because you're reliving that horror movie of yours. You go and sit in that horror movie and then come out of that mental theater of yours and then say to yourself, why am I feeling this way? You're feeling this way because you put yourself in this situation every day. You cannot stop thinking about how people manipulated you, how people took advantage of you, how people were rude to you. And that is why you keep on feeling all of this stress building in your life. Now, there is a way to stop all of that mental chatter and to stop time travel, and that is by being present here in the now. Now, I know it's very difficult to be present here all the time because, like you, I used to time travel a lot. It was something that I enjoyed doing. I'll tell you, you enjoy it too because it gave me that kind of validation that, what, I experienced it, I felt it, I wasn't wrong, this person was very wrong, they treated me this way, I want to feel like a victim. And you are also feeling like that. That, what, till the time I don't feel this need to be a victim, I will not really feel good about myself. Because I need to validate all of those emotions and feelings that I experienced. And now I'm going to not just travel back in time, I'm in fact going to travel back in time and have a conversation about what happened to me 20 years back with somebody I trust. And I'll keep going back and forth, going back and forth. And of course, there's no resolution. You know why? Because you cannot deal with a toxic individual like that. You cannot. So you cannot have these conversations with yourself and with somebody you trust and then imagine yourself trying to overcome this trauma. You can never do that. All of these emotions that you're experiencing, all of that hurt and pain that you're experiencing, you're the only one who's experiencing it, not the person who gave that trauma to you and not the person who's listening to you. Once you realize that, that you've been wasting your time trying to do that, because it doesn't matter to anybody except you. Yes, you have felt it. Yes, you have experienced it. Yes, it's true. It's not just in your mind. You must validate it in your mind, but let it go. Now, that's the problem that you experience. That although you validate all of that experience and you know that you went through it, but you don't become smarter. You don't come out smarter from that experience because there's no learning curve to it. So now we're going to put a learning curve to all of that experience. You know why? Because we are supposed to let go. How do we let go? We can only let it go by surrendering our thoughts to the divine. Every day you wake up and you experience this kind of time travel, you surrender that thought to the divine. You have to surrender that ego mind of yours because that is what is creating all of these problems. You felt validated, you had those feelings and you experienced all of that trauma, and yes, you went through it. You are in a company of a toxic individual, and yes, you are right, but that doesn't make you happy, right? All of that righteous feeling doesn't make you happy, it makes you sad. And if you continue sitting in that trauma, going back in the past, what's going to happen to you is that you will never be able to move forward. Now, if you want to improve your life, if you want to move forward, if you want to feel good, just feeling good. I don't want to feel overwhelmed throughout the day and through different periods of my life. I don't want to carry this energy into next phase of my life. If I want to feel better, I have to remove myself from this whole idea that, I have to travel back in time. I have to live through those scenarios in my mind. I will never do that. That is what you tell yourself every day and every second whenever you travel back into your past. You let it go. You tell the divine, you know what, I surrender all of these thoughts to you. Now that is your baggage. You take care of that baggage. I am simply going to take care of whatever I need to do today to improve my life. And don't sit and wallow in those thoughts. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to, feel those thoughts over and over again in your life. But of course, you're experiencing those thoughts over and over again in your life because you have been like a hoarder. You've been holding on to those thoughts. Now you're supposed to let them go. At the moment you let them go, you will experience so much of ease and joy. You'll feel light. And in fact, you will also stop reacting to toxic people. that's that's your cue. If you want to stop being a part of all of that drama that people bring in your life, then you have to stop going back into that past. You have to stop feeling all of that validation that you want from people around you to tell you, yes, you experienced it, yes, you're right, there is that manipulative individual, yes, they're treating you like this. I find so many people, especially in the evening time, talking on the phone and walking around and having these conversations. And I'm sorry, I don't eavesdrop. It's just that whenever people are walking around me in the evening time, I experience this, especially with women who have experienced so much of trauma in their homes, that they are just talking and talking about, yes, it's happening to me. Yes, we're going through this. And it's very normal. It's almost the most common thing you will find across households. And you have to stop feeling that way. I'm not being gender specific. Men can also experience it. It's just that women talk a lot on the phone about it. So that's what I'm saying. You have to stop doing that. You have to stop taking part in that activity where you are calling people up and telling them what you experienced and how you felt. Because if you don't do that, if you keep on sitting in that same thought over and over again, you're going to experience a lot of stress and anxiety in your life, and you want to remove that. You want to do better for yourself. So this is how you can stabilize your emotions. And these are very simple points that you can apply in your life and do better. And if you love my vlog, do like, share, and subscribe, and comment down below. And thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.